Bill Maher and Alan Ritchson get into a sloppy bar fight of a debate about the historicity of Jesus, the apostles, and so much more. Check this out. I'm Marco Arroyo. Welcome back to In Between Sundays. I'm glad you're here today. Before we get into the video, if you would like the video, subscribe to the channel and leave a comment. Let me know what you think about this debate. It is messy for so many reasons, but let's look at this and examine the substance of it. The substance that there was. Also, if you would consider supporting the Patreon, I really would appreciate it. Best way you can support the channel here and everything that I'm trying to do, and you get some awesome perks with that. Weekly Q&A. You get you can submit ideas for potential future podcasts, and you also get the extended version of each and every video that I do with less edits, more time, more conversation.
I benefit greatly from having a model for me for what I think the highest ideal of love is, which, like I said, is a self-sacrificial love.
Right.
I'm
totally down with that.
That's it.
Yeah. I just don't think he's God. I don't think there's such a thing as a God.
What in the world?
Yeah. I just don't.
What is this camera angle? He's covered by a pillar. What is this camera angle? Okay. ADHD time over.
Think he's God. I don't think there's such a thing as a God.
I guess we'll find out.
Yeah.
I guess we'll find out.
Well,
rock on. Like, I do. I'll name it, but well,
that's kind of
but
like,
I know that's not for everybody.
But that's kind of like buying the insurance when you get a rental car. I mean, that's not a good reason. I'm not saying that's why you're doing.
I've got an umbrella policy. So
I'm not saying that's why you're.
So Bill Maher goes, I think Christianity is nice in a certain sense. It's good that you believe in love and all that stuff, but I don't think that it's real. And Alan Ritchson kind of Pascal's wagered himself, which is it's better to live your life as if God exists, because if God is real, then you'll go to heaven instead of going to hell. But if you live your life like God doesn't exist and it turns out that he is real, then you go to hell, right? And if it turns out that he's not real, nothing happens.
You're doing it. But and yeah, maybe you're right. I mean, I always say it in religious. I preach the gospel of I don't know. People make much too big of a deal about the difference between atheist and agnostic.
Yeah.
It really is the same thing.
Yeah, totally. Look, I just, there's like good, I think there's good reasons. We don't have to get into it. I think there's good reasons though. Like people that were very close to him died defending the fact that he was a historical figure and that what he said was true and that they believed he was a Messiah.
Are we talking about Jesus?
11 of his 12 apostles, yes.
Oh.
There are things that have happened historically that are verifiable that I think go to show that people that were very close to him very much believe this.
That's not historically verifiable. That he had disciples
that Paul lived and was a Roman.
That's
what I'm talking about.
All right, they're already switching lanes here. Alan Ritchson makes the case that it's historically verifiable that 11 of the 12 apostles all died, and he goes, hold on. Bill Maher says that's not really historically verifiable. I know a lot of the people that bring that up, they say 11 of the 12 died. And they say if history is correct, there is some evidence about that stuff, some old writings about that stuff, but again, not enough to hang your hat on it. Now, the existence of them is something that absolutely you can make an amazing case that they existed, that they existed historically, yes. How they died and all that stuff is different, and I'll explain the distinction in a second. But then Bill Maher is talking about the 12 apostles, and when he goes, whoa, that's not, there's no historical evidence for that, or not enough for that. Alan Ritchson says for Paul, because there's a lot of evidence for Paul historically, just in historical writings.
Okay, Paul was not a disciple.
He died.
St. Paul?
He had an interaction on the road to Emmaus.
The road to Emmaus. That's the end of the book of Luke. Road to Damascus, Acts chapter 9.
No.
He would argue that he was, because he had a personal interaction with. But you and I, you as a non-believer would say it's not possible.
Okay, look at Bill Maher. He is not even listening to him. Look at the last 5 seconds. He's not. He's just trying to start talking. Look.
But you and I, you as a non-believer would say it's not possible.
Okay, I got to give you the
He's not even listening.
These are facts. Jesus dies in 33 A.D. Paul was writing in the 50s. He was Saul of Tarsus. Yes. He had a vision on the road to Damascus. It was a cross in the sky. He never.
Saul of Tarsus saw a cross in the sky. It's interesting. You read Acts chapter 9. You don't find the he did not. Nowhere does it say he saw a cross in the sky. He had a conversation with Jesus. Nowhere do you see there was a cross in the sky. Where is he getting that from?
Never met Jesus, and in fact, one of the things that's so iffy about
He never met Jesus. He spoke to him.
Gospels is that the Gospels, which are written 20 years after St. Paul was writing, know way more about Jesus than
the
Paul
voice
does.
that he was talking to. So you have to believe in magic. You have to believe in magic
Right.
for it to be true.
Great.
I accept that.
I accept it too.
I accept that you have to believe in magic, and I admit I do believe in magic. The voice he was talking to said, "Why do you persecute me?" And he was trying to kill Christians.
And I love
this is where people like Alan Ritchson start to just lose all credibility. What he just said was, in a way, technically true, but also terrible. Yes, Christians do believe that miracles have happened. Yes, things that are not explained by science, but nature, right? Yes, of course. But you notice what he says, you have to believe in magic for it to be real, right? That sounds like he's saying, look, there's no good reason for it. You just have to believe in this kind of stuff. And there is good reason to believe in it. But when you say you have to believe in magic, it sounds like you're saying there's no good reason. And that's why Bill Maher's going, yes, the nonsense, the magic, the smoke and mirror stuff. Yeah, sure.
Christ that he's talking about. So I believe that he did have an interaction, personal interaction with the person that he died.
Oh, I see. Okay,
defending.
all right, great. And you know what? I love that. I don't have to agree with everybody on everything. I
feel the same way.
I love my magic. I love my magician brothers.
That's it. That's what it boils down to.
You see, Bill Maher, for him, it's just, I love the people who believe in this stuff. They know it's not, they know there's no good reason to believe it except for just what it subjectively provides them, but it's not true. It's just magic. It's just fake stuff.
Behind your ear.
Yeah, totally. But that's what it boils down to. And I admit, I believe that kind of magic is real.
And if it works for you, I'm thrilled.
Totally. But so did Paul.
No.
So you can't say that he wasn't a real historical figure. This
Paul
man,
was a historical figure.
Paul was undeniably a historical
but
figure.
Not a contemporary of Jesus.
Sort of.
Oh, I see. With the
With the woo-woo. You see, with the woo-woo, he was a historical figure.
People would argue this with him in his own day, of course. His own peers.
Not by our...
Right. Not by those standards of apostleship.
I have a soundboard now, and I'm very excited about that. And what I love about the soundboard is I can play a sound that perfectly sums up the quality of that debate. I couldn't wait to finally press a button on the soundboard. I couldn't wait. Let's do it one more time. Or no, let's hear the audience's excitement and applause for that debate. Okay. It's so important to point this out. I think a lot of people miss this. When it comes to scholarship and the historicity of Jesus, someone like Metzger, for example, Bruce Metzger, said this: today, no competent scholar denies the historicity of Jesus. Again, no competent scholar. And this is Metzger, by the way. Metzger is not just like, he's not like some religious fanatic guy that just happens to have a very high level of education. He has credibility among a lot of people. And one of them, the foremost maybe, being Bart Ehrman, who does not believe in God, but says he's like the best guy out there when it comes to this stuff. When it comes to knowledge of manuscripts and things like that. Notice he wrote this article, this blog, just a couple years ago, I think it was. Notice this. He wrote this blog in 2015. Someone asked him, do you have a grudge against Dr. Bruce Metzger because you guys, they're friends with one another? He was a student of Bruce Metzger, but they disagree so much on the existence of God and things like that. Notice what he says. I don't think there's anyone in the known universe who would disagree that Bruce Metzger was the greatest New Testament scholar ever to come out of North America. Ever is what he says. He is like the greatest from North America in Bart Ehrman's estimation. Again, that's a lot of that says a lot about who he is and his credibility level. I think more people who believe in the Bible, who believe in God, need to understand this. The burden of what constitutes a historical document, sometimes we forget that there is a historical document that we can point to as evidence for the existence of a lot of things, and that is the Bible. And this is something that Bruce Metzger attested to, and this is something that basically every scholar would attest to, that for its time, the Bible is far and away the most reliable document just on the basis of the over 5,000 ancient manuscripts that we have of it, some of them dating back to the very early 2nd century. And that's what we have today in 2023, copies on copies on copies on copies, and the difference of all these copies are very minor things, scribal errors, little things like that, nothing major, the 99.9% of the time. It's so interesting to me how Bill Maher's accusation or Bill Maher's criticism is these letters, Matthew, Mark, Luke, and John, were written a few decades after Jesus died. I don't understand how that is a valid criticism in his eyes. What is the substance behind that? Again, I'll grant that, no problem. Sure, I even kind of agree with that. A few decades after Jesus' death, Matthew, Mark, Luke, and John, they're written, they start to come out. How does that hurt the Bible's credibility at all? In fact, when you take people who believe in the Bible, the vast majority of them are not going to say, well, they just wrote this stuff from memory, pure memory, 30 years later. Now, they could have written a whole lot from memory, but every single person who believes in the Bible believes that this was given by inspiration of God, and proof positive of inspiration of God is the fact that in these gospel accounts and in the entire New Testament, let alone the entire Bible, there are no contradictions. There are no substantive errors or something like that when it comes to the historical nature of the Bible, the scientific nature of the Bible, whatever it might be. The Bible is a perfect document. And I know a lot of people are going to get upset when I say that, but the Bible is a perfect document. People say, well, there's lies in the Bible. Yes, the Bible records things that people say. So yes, there's lies in the Bible, there's stuff like that. But as far as what God has said, as far as what is revealed in the words of inspiration, this is a unified, singular message that when looked at honestly and when looked at diligently, when studied, you see that this is one unified, singular message about God's desire to bring us back to Him because of our sin. So yes, the Bible is so incredibly reliable that I can use that even if I use no other historical documents. I can use that to attest to the existence of the apostles, the 12 disciples. I can use that to attest the existence of a whole lot of things. The Bible is a reliable document. It does meet that standard, and it has met that standard for the vast majority of scholars. And again, scholars who are respected even by people like Bart Ehrman, who are some of the biggest, most popular atheists in the world today. That was a sloppy bar fight of a debate. And it didn't have a lot of structure to it, and there wasn't a lot of listening. There was a lot of talking over one another, and there wasn't a lot of real information being put out there by either guy. But as a Christian, it is comforting to know that people are talking about this stuff, and it is comforting to know that if something is true, scrutinize it all you want. I love it when people give me counter arguments to stuff that I believe, because I just want to get closer to truth. So if what I believe is right, then when I study the counter arguments, when I look at the evidence, when I look at the information, what is right is still going to be right. And if I'm wrong, awesome. I'm getting closer to the truth. No need to be scared. No need to be worried. The more we learn, the better things we'll get. The more we talk to one another, the better everyone will be, the better everyone will get. Let me know what you think, though. What do you think about what I've said? Was this a sloppy bar fight of a debate? Or am I the sloppy drunk guy sitting at his desk, falling over and not knowing what he's talking about? Let me know what you think. Like the video, subscribe to the channel, consider supporting on Patreon. God bless you. I'll talk to you soon.